Hello everyone! In this video, I'm going to break down a little musical piece that I wrote as a soundtrack to a short nature video. I'll walk you through the track and explain every element, my thought process on melody, tempo, how I keep things cohesive, and how I matched the music to key moments in the footage. By the way, this is part 2. In the previous video, I showed how I approach starting this kind of project. So if you missed that, make sure to check it out. Links in the description. All right, let's dive in by listening to the track. All right, so that's what I've created. It's obviously not a finished piece of music. Let's go over some of the tracks and some of the things that I did here, and I'll break it down for you. Okay, so we have this harp part, which is going in 16th notes, and our tempo is 120-ish BPM. So that sounds like this. We heard it before. I felt that the fast pace was very fitting for a time-lapse video. Things are happening much faster than in reality, so I need something propelling us forward, something that fits with the visuals. The idea of using a harp came from the references that I listened to. Okay, then we have this little hi-hat track coming in, which is just a sample I found from something I downloaded way back from Splice or something. On its own sounds like this. Just enhances that forward propulsion feeling. And then we have this violin part giving a emotional feeling, intimate. Like I said, I wanted to make this kind of intimate. This is a little family of birds, I guess, making their home. Again, the violin sound, the strings in general came from the reference tracks. Then I added in, actually together with the violin, we have this beat. And then to intensify, because there was just a few seconds of this whole time-lapse build-up, I needed to make it sound much more intense pretty quickly. So that's why I added this piano part. I think it works quite nicely. I have this second violin kind of part. The main reason I added that was to make it more cohesive, because I had this violin line going just a second ago, and then when we continue the build-up and the very upfront piano part comes in, it just felt it would be too different without having the string sound stay in there. Here, I can even take it out and you can listen. If I mute this, we go from here. I mean, it works, but this gives an extra layer of cohesiveness. Then I went back to a little bit of a smaller sound, a little bit more intimate, because here the time-lapse actually stops and we see the bird just going into the nest. I guess theoretically I could have stopped the beat already here, but I wanted to keep that effect for afterwards, for what felt to me like the climax of the, or one of the climaxes of this video. So I just left it smaller like before. I feel this gives us a feeling of anticipation. Putting back that piano was sort of telling the story of, wow, I built this home and now I have a home. I'm speaking as the bird now. I think the music really intensifies that moment. Let's try to watch that for a second without the music. Say from here, if I just mute the master bus. All right, and now with the music. Yeah, I think the timing could have been more perfect. If this was a real project, we would have either changed the timing of the video so that the big moment in the music coincides with this new shot of the bird inside, just sitting in there from a little closer up. Right now, that shot comes just, what is it, half a bar after the piano comes in and everything. Or conversely, I could have tried to sort of change the meter, add 2 more beats before I do this change in orchestration and add in that piano. Would have obviously worked as well. I think many times in film, that's what you have to do. You have to change meter, you have to play around with the lengths of the bars and the lengths of the phrases so that the right cut points get the right musical definition. I changed the harmony a bit here as well, sort of more emotional. I mean, now you have this bird sitting, you have the actual dweller of this home. Before we were just seeing it being built. Because of the time lapse, you couldn't see the bird coming in and out there. So I felt something more emotional would work. Instead of going from G to C, going like from the 1st degree of the scale to the 4th degree, which is another major chord, I went from G to E minor, which is the 3rd degree, giving me a more interesting emotion because I'm going from major to minor. Let's listen to it. Here we go. And here is a place where I did go with the visuals and change the rhythm to work with the visuals. Okay, in terms of the rhythmic feeling, we have 4 bars. If I'm looking at the piano part here, we have 4 bars starting here at bar 17. 1, 2, 3, 4 bars. And like the obvious place for a change would have been right here, right after the 4 bars. But in the visuals, it took another 2 bars to get to the place where I wanted to make a musical climax or a musical point. So I had to add another 2 chords. Okay, listen to this again. E, D, C, D. Moved back to D here, okay, instead of going to G, which really feels like we're going backwards with the harmony. I had D here, D, C, and then going backwards, D again. And then I went to G here, but added this harp gliss together with an abrupt stop, which I felt was very effective at this point where the chicks hatch. Okay. The mother's sitting in there. I really love that moment. I'm very happy with what I came up with there, taking all of the rhythm away at that point where we see the chicks and we understand that the bird was sitting on the eggs in that in the nest, which was maybe not obvious before that. And then there's this sudden shot of the chicks, which felt like a total different atmosphere for me. So I took everything away, just left that leitmotif of the in the violin and added a celesta. The idea for that came from the references I listened to, like a childish sound fitting for when we see these chicks inside the nest. Going on. And then I brought back the harp because there's another special moment in the video that's coming up, and this felt to me like it's building the anticipation in a very nice way. Plus, it was very coherent because that was like our driving element for almost the whole track. So putting that back in felt much more sensible to me than making total new material. Maybe if this was maybe a very long video, I would have gone to something different. But for this kind of a really short video, it felt like it was the right thing. So we're building up this tension here, or curiosity, what's going to happen here. And there's the moment. Yeah, so what I did there was pretty much bring everything back in, the piano, a little bit of celesta, put all the puzzle pieces together. We got the birds home, the parent birds, and the little chicks, and all the musical elements were also coming back together at that point. Some sort of a climax of this video. One additional element in this climactic last part was the whole string section coming in. I felt this was, again, a climax, so let's bring everything in. Let's listen to the strings by themselves. All right, and in context. Yeah, so if I'm trying to think of this as sort of some musical storytelling, the violin was the main character, and now we have a whole string section, so that's sort of, there was this one bird, and now there is a family of birds. So now let's just listen to the whole thing one last time. Now that we've broken down all of the elements, you can appreciate all of the nuances going on in this musical piece and how it enhances and goes together with the visuals. Enjoy. Hi, it's Noam from the future. After creating this breakdown, I experimented with a different arrangement of the same track. The reason for that being, I felt that the drums might have been a bit too much for what is basically a delicate bird affair. So, listen to this version without the drums. I also swapped the piano for a guitar, and tell me which of them you liked better. So that's it. It's not a totally finished piece, but for the sake of this video, I think we've covered a lot. I hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed. If you got any questions, any comments, please leave them down in the comments section. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And of course, as always, please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. That would mean a lot to me. Thank you for watching. See you next time.